Alright, let's dive into this intriguing wave of moves the Las Vegas Raiders have been making. Over the last couple of days, the Raiders have been active, shaking up their roster with some signings and cuts that give us a clear look into their strategy and what they want from their players heading into the preseason. It's the kind of shuffle that can tell you a lot about the direction a team is headed, especially one that's trying to find its identity under a new system. First up, the Raiders made a notable signing with wide receiver Kawan Baker. Now, Baker is a name that might not immediately jump off the page for most fans, but when you dig deeper, you start to understand why the Raiders took a chance on him. He's a 7th round draft pick from South Alabama, a smaller school that doesn't always get the spotlight. Drafted by the New Orleans Saints, Baker has bounced around the league quite a bit, spending time on multiple practice squads: the Packers, Eagles, Patriots, and Saints. He's had limited in-game action in the NFL, only appearing in 2 games and registering a single tackle with no catches. But what stands out about him is his athleticism. The Raiders' current receiving core is interesting because after their top 5 guys, the depth chart feels a bit murky. You have solid contributors, but beyond those starters, it's unclear who exactly will step up. Names like Tommy Mallott and Alex Bachman hover around the bubble, with some whispers suggesting Bachman might have the edge. Even Philip Dorsett seems to be getting a nod over Mallott in some circles. What this means is that the Raiders are clearly searching for players who can stretch the field vertically, which fits perfectly with the offensive scheme that Chip Kelly is rolling out. Kelly's offense is aggressive and fast-paced, with a focus on pushing the ball downfield to open up underneath routes and create space for tight ends in 2 tight end sets. Kawan Baker, standing 6'1" and weighing around 210 pounds, fits this mold because of his explosiveness and speed. His combine and pro day numbers caught attention, showcasing an ability to accelerate quickly, break press coverage, and turn short throws into big plays. This electric athleticism is exactly what the Raiders want for their special teams and offensive schemes. On special teams, players like Baker can make a huge difference on kick and punt returns, bringing a spark that can shift momentum. It's worth highlighting the detailed scouting report from back in 2021 by Lance Zierlein, a respected NFL draft analyst who described Baker as an under-the-radar wideout with explosive athleticism, capable of playing inside or outside. He praised Baker's speed, hands, and natural route running while noting that he was still developing consistency and would need to adjust to the speed and skill of NFL cornerbacks. Baker was seen as a potential sleeper pick, a guy with traits and tools that could blossom with the right opportunity. The Raiders clearly see Baker's potential to be that field stretcher who can ignite the offense and contribute on special teams. It's a move that makes sense in a roster that wants dynamic athletes who can create mismatches and pressure defenses vertically. On the tight end front, the Raiders also added Albert OBow, known simply as Albert O, a big-bodied tight end standing 6'5" and weighing around 260 pounds. His path to the Raiders is interesting because he was originally drafted by the Denver Broncos in the 4th round, a pick that came under the watch of Brian Stark, now the Raiders' assistant general manager. This connection might have played a role in bringing Albert O to Las Vegas. Albert O has bounced around the league too, playing for the Broncos, Eagles, and spending time on the Colts practice squad last season before landing with the Raiders. Across his career, he has appeared in 30 games and started 7, accumulating over 500 yards and 4 touchdowns on 54 receptions. For a tight end, those are solid numbers that show he has the ability to contribute as a reliable target, especially in the red zone. What makes Albert O stand out, besides his size and physicality, is his rare combination of speed for a player his size. Clocking a 40-yard dash in the mid 4.4 seconds range is impressive for a tight end, giving him the ability to stretch the defense vertically and make big plays downfield. This makes him a valuable asset in Chip Kelly's offense, which is increasingly using 2 tight end sets to create mismatches and open the field for multiple threats. However, Albert O is not without his flaws. Early scouting reports pointed out some concerns about his route running, noting that he can be a bit mechanical and upright in his breaks, which could make him vulnerable when facing savvy defenders. His blocking skills are still developing, and some scouts questioned his competitiveness and toughness, wondering if he has the grit needed to consistently play through pain or in tough situations. The Raiders will be looking closely to see if he can overcome those concerns with effort and improvement, especially given the demanding nature of the NFL. The competition for tight end spots on the Raiders is fierce. The team already has standout players like Brock Bowers and Mayer, who have impressed in training camp and mock games. Then there is Ian Thomas, currently slotted as the third tight end, who's been consistently showing up in practice and game plans. Albert O is battling not just to make the roster, but to carve out a role in a hybrid position that mixes wide receiver and tight end responsibilities, especially as the Raiders try to balance their two tight end formations with some versatility. This aggressive approach to utilizing tight ends in multiple roles is reminiscent of how some teams in the past, like Pete Carroll's Seahawks, have relied on under-the-radar players to fill vital roles, guys who might not be headline grabbers, but who bring reliability, blocking ability, and clutch receiving skills. The Raiders appear to be aiming for that same blend, hoping Albert O can be a versatile and dependable weapon in their offensive arsenal. While the signings of Baker and Albert O bring excitement, the Raiders also made tough decisions to move on from a couple of players. Pat Conroy, an undrafted free agent tight end or fullback hybrid out of Old Dominion, was waived. Conroy had an exceptional athletic profile, testing near the top percentiles for tight ends and fullbacks in terms of physical ability. However, despite his raw talent, he may have struggled to find consistency or polish in his game that the Raiders are now seeking in players like Albert O. Phillips was another player who got cut. Phillips had been a priority signing early, in the offseason, coming from UCLA where he had worked with Chip Kelly before. Initially, he looked like a candidate to make the 53-man roster, partly because of his connection to Kelly, but reports and observations around training camp indicated that Phillips wasn't quite hitting the mark. Without the necessary athleticism and with the emergence of players like Alex Bachman, who has been impressing in the slot, Phillips' spot was in jeopardy. Bachman's ability to step up and seize opportunities has effectively pushed Phillips out of contention, underscoring how the Raiders are committed to performance and meritocracy. These moves illustrate how the Raiders are focusing on building a roster full of dynamic athletes who can fit into Chip Kelly's fast-paced vertical offense while also contributing on special teams and showing the kind of competitiveness the organization demands. It's a delicate balancing act, and the preseason will be crucial in determining which players can elevate their game and secure a role in the team's plans. Looking ahead, the Raiders are gearing up for their preseason opener against the Seattle Seahawks, a matchup that will be telling for the team's two tight end formations and their overall offensive identity. Expect to see a rotation of players like Ian Thomas, Justin Shorter, Guadier Ishmael, Carter Renan, and Albert O battling for snaps, showcasing what they can bring in both the passing game and blocking schemes. As we get closer to game day, the questions remain. Who will emerge as the key contributors? Will Kawan Baker's athleticism translate into explosive plays and valuable special teams contributions? Can Albert O prove that he has the toughness and skill to be a reliable piece in the Raiders offense? And how will the decisions to move on from Conroy and Phillips affect the team's depth and dynamics? This period of roster churn is a fascinating glimpse into the Raiders' rebuilding process. They are clearly not afraid to take chances on players with raw talent and potential, while also cutting loose those who might not fit the mold or meet the expectations. It speaks to a broader philosophy of competitiveness and a commitment to assembling a squad that can execute Kelly's vision on the field. With the preseason just around the corner, every snap, every play, and every practice rep matters. The fool. Raiders are putting their players to the test, and fans will be watching closely to see how these new additions and roster moves shape the team's future. The excitement is building, and the stakes are high as the silver and black prepare to make their mark this season. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on our Las Vegas Raiders, and don't be shy. Drop your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a stunning development that has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, former Raiders quarterback Rich Gannon recently made a statement that has fueled speculation about the uncertain future of the Las Vegas Raiders. Known for his insightful analysis and candid opinions, Gannon didn't hold back when addressing the current state of the Raiders franchise, which has struggled significantly in recent seasons. His comments hinted at the possibility that the Raiders could be heading towards a major restructuring, or perhaps even a shift in ownership or location, as he questioned the viability of the team remaining competitive in its present form. This revelation has ignited a flurry of rumors among fans and analysts alike, with many wondering whether the Raiders' ongoing difficulties are deeper than just on-field performance, and if the organization might be on the verge of a dramatic change. Gannon's status as a respected former player adds weight to these speculations, making this news far from a simple critique and more a potential forecast of turbulent times ahead for the Raiders. Gannon's remarks didn't just dwell on the surface issues of the Raiders' poor record and lackluster play. He delved into the franchise's broader challenges, suggesting that systemic problems might be undermining the team's ability to attract and develop talent. In a league where success often depends on strong leadership and a coherent vision, Gannon hinted that the Raiders could be lacking in these critical areas, casting doubt on the effectiveness of the current management. The fact that the team has failed to build momentum despite multiple coaching changes and roster overhauls only seem to underscore his point. His insights have prompted speculation that the Raiders might need to consider a radical overhaul, potentially involving not just player personnel, but also front office and coaching staff. This kind of shakeup would be unprecedented in recent history for the franchise, adding a layer of intrigue to Gannon's cryptic warnings and fueling discussions about what the Raiders' next steps might be in a highly competitive NFL landscape. The timing of Gannon's comments has only added to the intensity of the rumors swirling around the Raiders' future. Coming just as the team is preparing for another offseason filled with uncertainty, his declaration has stirred debates among fans and pundits who are eager to decode the implications. Some interpret Gannon's words as a subtle nudge toward an imminent change in ownership or a relocation, two factors that could dramatically alter the franchise's trajectory. Others see it as a call for the Raiders to rethink their long-term strategy, emphasizing the need for a stable foundation that can support sustained success rather than quick fixes. The buzz surrounding these possibilities reflects a growing impatience with the Raiders' inability to return to their former glory and a desire to see the organization make bold moves that could reshape its identity. As the NFL offseason unfolds, all eyes will be on the Raiders, waiting to see if Gannon's ominous hints will translate into real action or remain mere speculation. Adding to the intrigue is the reaction from within the Raiders organization itself, which has remained notably tight-lipped since Gannon's remarks surfaced. The lack of an immediate official response has only intensified the mystery, leading insiders to speculate that management might be quietly considering significant decisions behind closed doors. The team's recent history of instability, marked by frequent coaching turnovers and inconsistent roster building, aligns with the concerns raised by Gannon, fueling rumors that the franchise is at a crossroads. Some insiders believe that Gannon's statement could be a strategic move to apply pressure on the organization to accelerate changes that fans and analysts have been clamoring for years. This theory suggests that the Raiders, aware of their precarious position, might be bracing for a transformational period that could redefine the team's future, whether through new leadership, revamped strategies, or even controversial moves like relocation. The combination of silence from the Raiders and Gannon's public critique has created a fertile ground for speculation about what the next chapter holds. Ultimately, the ripple effects of Rich Gannon's unexpected comments about the Raiders' future have sparked a wave of conjecture that transcends simple sports analysis. His words have become a catalyst for a broader conversation about the direction of a franchise once revered for its competitive spirit, but now struggling to maintain relevance in a fiercely competitive league. Fans are divided between hope for a revival and fear of more instability as the possibility of a complete overhaul looms large. Whether these rumors materialize into tangible changes or remain as talk, Gannon's statement has undoubtedly shaken the foundation of the Raiders, community, and the NFL at large. The upcoming months will be critical in determining if the Raiders can respond to this public challenge by charting a new course, or if they will continue to grapple with the uncertainty that Gannon so pointedly highlighted. In the meantime, the buzz around the Raiders' future remains one of the most compelling storylines in the league, keeping fans and commentators alike on edge. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Las Vegas Raiders, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.